Well, praise the Lord, everyone. Good to see you in Sunday school today. Beautiful day that the Lord has given us. And aren't you thankful that you had a desire to come to church today? A lot of people didn't even want to come to church when they got up this morning. And I'm glad that's the first thing I thought of, is getting ready to come to church. So glad to see you all here today. We've had several out. Good to see Brother Rogers back. He was out Wednesday night. Glad he's feeling better. Good to see Brother Hately with us this morning. Special guest this morning, Sister Helen Sellers. Aren't you glad to see her back today? So glad to see you, Sister Helen. Appreciate you being here, and I know it was a push and a struggle to get here, but you know, when you've got a desire to go to the house of God, you just get up and push on and keep it going. So it's sure good to see you here today. And it's good to see all of you here today. Let's all stand, go to the Lord in prayer. We've got a lot to pray for. If you can't think of a request when you get down to pray, think about our world situation. That's enough to keep you praying 24 hours a day. And that's a mess over there, and I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but let's just pray that the Lord will get us some relief there. And the Ukrainian people, it's a terrible thing what they're going through. So let's keep that over there in our prayers. I don't even know how to tell you to pray for it, except just pray for it. Just pray, just say something about it. Let's continue to remember Sister Sellers. I know she's back with us at church, but she continues to need our prayer. Hermit Cantrell, which is Brother Ben's grandfather, I think. He's still needing a touch. Ryan Austin, this will be Brother Chad's brother. Keep him in our prayers. The Mitchell Kirk family, most of you know that they lost a grandson, over the last week or so. And they wanted us to make mention of visitation today is from 11 to 2, and the funeral will be at 2 o'clock at Pleasant Hill Church. If you can't make that funeral, hold them up in our prayers. They'll need your prayers not only today, but throughout the next few weeks. So hold Brother Kirk and all that family, Ernie Mitchell and his wife, hold them all up in our prayers this next couple of weeks, because they're going to need us. John Robinson text this morning. He's out sick, so let's remember him and his family. London Perry's a little girl with cancer, so let's remember her in our prayers. Then we'll have a special request about Victory Church in New Albany. Brother Bishop is there. Brother Raymond Bishop's son is there and is having a lot of health issues, very serious health issues. And we need to put him on our prayer list and remember him, Brother Bishop from Victory Church in New Albany. Then Sister Charlotte Smith called this morning. She needs prayer also. So let's remember all these prayer requests. Do you have a request that you would like to call today? Okay, go ahead. Remember Sister Hudson. It's good to see Sister Hudson this morning. Let's remember her. Lord can give her strength. And I'm just praying the Lord just give you great years ahead of you, Sister Hudson. Anyone else have a request? All right, let's remember this prayer request. The little baby that fell out of a buggy at Walmart. Let's remember that request. Continue to remember Brother Rogers in our prayers. He's still not feeling so well, but let's remember him today. You want to take us to the Lord in prayer, Brother Rogers? Can you do that? All right, you may be seated. Ushers, come on and take our Sunday school offering today. If you've got something to give, please give. The Lord has been good to us. I know He's been good to you. He's been good to me. He's blessed us in so many ways. We can never praise Him enough and thank Him enough. I'm a little bit crouped up this morning, but you pray for me and we'll get through this Sunday school lesson. Hope we got something that will that you'll enjoy today. Brother Levi was talking, those that were here Wednesday night, great service, great message, but he was talking about his vision for the church, and it really got me excited about talking about what he had in mind and the things he would like to do. And you say, well, we can't do that. We can't do that. We're not a very big church. No, we're not a very big church, but we can do it. We can do it. The Lord's got plenty of money. That's the good thing. Bad things is in most of y'all's pockets. Y'all ain't turning it loose. But the Lord has got ways. I mean, that we just put it in His hands and trust the Lord. I would love for us to have a school here. You that have got kids in school, you know what I mean. If they're going to public schools, it's something in our public schools right now. And I would love to have a school here and have, 1 through 12. Be such a great thing to raise your kids up in a good Christian school and entrust them with people that you know is going to teach them the right way. Not only teach them what they need to know about their school and about their business, but also in a Christian way, in a Christian manner. And wouldn't that be nice to have a nice Christian school here? It really would. I've thought about this before. This may not be Brother Levi's vision, but I've thought about this before. If we had this land over here that we've talked about before, we could build an auditorium right there, parking and everything right there. This side of the road could be the school. We've got our chapel already built in. We've got our kitchen already built in. We've got teaching rooms already built in. We've got administration spots out front already. So it would be a perfect setup for us to have that. And that may not be his idea, but I'm just telling you some things that I had thought about. I got excited, to tell you the truth, Wednesday night. Then he talked about having a daycare. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? You that's got younger kids or grandkids to know that there was a daycare here at the church and tied to the church where you could just drop your child off. And that'd be a great thing too. So keep that in your mind. Pray about it. Ask the Lord. Tell the Lord, look, this is what we would like to do. Not to build anything for us, but this would build something for our future generation. Some of us would probably never would get to enjoy it. A lot of us are past our childbearing years and child-having years, but you've got grandkids and great-grandkids that would really be an advantage to. It's going to take a little bit to get there. As Brother Levi said, we may not get there, in a year. We may not get there in 5 years. I may never see it, but I like the vision we have for this church, don't you? I really do. I like the vision for the church. And without a vision, the people perish. And then he mentioned giving Ukraine, the refugees there in Ukraine, and the outreach to Ukraine, which I think is a very good thing. He said, Brother Levi mentioned he'd like to send $10,000 to Ukraine victims this year. I don't think that's out of the question whatsoever. Matter of fact, we've done well on the way there. I'm not sure what has been promised and pledged so far, but we're well on our way there. Our company that I work for, Chris called me one day in February, and he said, what about this world situation? We talked about it for a while and how it affects business and that kind of thing, And our company's always been a outpouring, outreaching company. We gave, I don't know how much, over 100,000 last year to different causes and charity events. And I said, we need to think about it as a company, donating some money to the refugee crisis over there. And he said, what you got in mind? I said, I don't know. I said, think of a figure. He said, what about 25,000? I said, that suits me fine. So our company gave 25,000 just in a month. So that's not saying a big thing we done. I'm just telling you that because we can send 10,000 pretty quick. We can. The Lord has blessed us, and this is what I've prayed before. Now, I've told you this before. I'd like to give $1 million in tithes one year. I don't know if any of y'all would like to pay $1 million in tithes. I'd love it. I would love it. You know how much that means? You made a lot of money. And I've told the Lord before, I said, look, I've got everything I need. The Lord has blessed me. I've got everything I need. But I've told the Lord before, make me a conduit. So let something flow through me so I can just flow it out to somebody else. Let me be the conduit for it. I'll be glad to do it. I've never been stingy. I've always wanted to give. When I didn't have to give, I wanted to give. When I didn't have to give, I pledged to give. And I'd work and save till I got the money up. We decided to put carpet down in here. I don't think it was this time, but maybe the time before. And the Lord just impressed me. He said, pledge $1,000. I said, well, Lord, you know my bank account good as I do. And it ain't worth $1,000. And but I popped up and said, I'll do $1,000. And that was maybe 15, 20 years ago. It was a little bit more than it is right now. 1,000 don't go too far now. But we got through. And Tammy said, I don't know how we're going to give $1,000. I said, I don't either, but we're going to give it. We may have to pick up some Coke cans at the end of the day after we get through working. You know, we had $1,000 to give just like that. Never missed it, no time flat. If you have never been involved in giving and letting the Lord give back to you, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. Brother Chad has, I can tell by the way he spoke up right then, he's done proving this method works. I mean, it works. You just can't, there ain't no way it can't work. I wish you would try it for yourself. Let me talk about our lesson this morning. Seems like it always gets quiet when we talk about offerings, don't it? Everybody clench up and cinch up and start grabbing their billfolds. Do you believe the Lord can supply your needs? I really do. Do you believe the Lord can supply this church's needs? Do you believe the Lord can finance the vision of the church with no problem whatsoever? There's no telling over the next course of the next few months. You can mark this down if you'd like. There's no telling what we're going to see develop in Gospel Tabernacle. It's going to be amazing to us what really develops. So I'm looking for it. I believe in it, just the way it is. We're in the last few miles of our trip. I know this. Some of you probably a little further along the trip than I am by looking at you out there this morning. But I'll turn 60 years old this year, and I know I don't have 60 more years. I mean, can you imagine me at 120? I can't imagine that. Can't hardly imagine it at 60 years old. I don't know how I got here so quick. But I do know this, that probably my better years are behind me. And as I said, some of us are closer to maybe to the end than others are. But we never know. I've been privileged in my lifetime and my career to travel and see a lot of things in this world. And I've probably visited 40 to 45 of the 50 states that we have in the United States. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be able to travel. I've had the opportunity to visit, some of the main sites of this world, the Alamo. If you ever get a chance to go to the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, don't go there. It's just a few walls left up there, just part of it left. It ain't much to see, but just to say you've been there. Brother Chad and I and several of us went up to Mount Rushmore a couple of years back. If you get a chance to go there, go there. It was worth the trip. It's a long ways, but it was worth the trip. Went to Cherokee Memorial. It was definitely worth the trip. So go those places if you can. Been to Vancouver, Canada. I don't know if any of you have been to Vancouver, Canada. It's such a beautiful place up there. And if you ever get a chance to go up there, go up and see Vancouver. I've been to Maine several times, 3 times. Brother Hately lived in Maine for quite a while. That's one of the most beautiful places, if you like the outdoors, that you can go in the world. We've been on vacation up there 2 or 3 times, and It's just a gorgeous place in Maine. And if you've never eaten Maine lobster right out on the ocean side, if you like lobster, boy, you don't know what you are missing. It's worth it. It's worth a trip just to eat a lobster up there. Brother Gary, I looked back here just now. He was just telling me last week about him going to the Smoky Mountains and sitting up by the little chalet up by the creek and just sitting on the back porch and enjoy it. God has blessed us with a lot of things, folks. He's really blessed us with a beautiful world, and a lot of people have tried to tear it up, but it's beautiful. But I said all this as I'm, nearing age 60. I know that the common thing would be to start slowing down. You want to slow down sometimes. I can do just about what I always did. I just don't want to do as much as I always did. I told Tammy the other night, I said, my legs are aching. She said, well, what do you do? I said, I found this out after you get old. You don't have to do nothing. They'll just do it they'll just start hurting just because they can. Just because you're 60, they'll start hurting, won't they? Just spots start hurting you ain't never knowed you had. But, it'd be a common thing to think about slowing down. But listen, folks, we don't need to slow down. We don't need to slow down. As the scripture said, he's fed me when I was hungry, or the song said he fed me when I was hungry, cheered me when I was sad, and he's been the dearest friend I've ever had. He's never done me anything but good, and surrender is not an option. It's not even an option. And God has never lost a battle, and it's not time for us to start throwing in the white towel and thinking about giving up or quitting. I'm not surrendered. My mind is made up. I started this to see heaven. My mind is made up. My heart is set like a flint. My eyes can almost see the lights of home. Why would I give up now? Why would we start backing up now? I believe that we have still got things to battle in our lives and battle in this life. And, if not for our sake, you know where you stand on issues, but someone else needs to see where you stand on some issues. They need to hear the Christian folks speak out. And those that are of age, we have got more to do than we've ever done. If you'll look at what we've got coming up, I'm not talking about in this local congregation. We've got some good kids in this local congregation. But if you'll look at the generation that is headed to take over where we are right now, we got our work cut out. We have got our work cut out. We're raising a generation that thinks they're entitled to everything. They're entitled to what you've already worked and made in their mind. They want to start where you're at right now after you work 45 years. And they don't want to work for it. They're not going to work for it. And you can see this in our workforce today. It's the same in our Christian walk with God. They're not turning toward God. They're turning away from God constantly. So this is more critical probably than ever before. You that are middle-aged, and on the upper age of life, it is time that we, more than ever, show the world how to live a Christian life. It's time more than ever. It may be like the story I heard about, there's this enemy was coming down the road, and everybody heard him coming. All the men of the house got up and grabbed their guns and their muskets and took out and went out the front door with her guns ready for battle. And here come Grandma out with a broom. Here she come out with a broom running, and the kids said, Grandma said, get back in the house. You can't fight no battle with a broom. She said, no, but at least they're going to know which side I'm on. Now that's what we need to do in our Christian life. We got to show them what side we on, folks. Our better years may be behind us, but this is not over. Paul said, I'm in bonds and I'm going to Rome and not knowing my fate, but he said, none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself, so that I may finish my course with joy. I believe it's high time, more time, better time than ever to serve the Lord right now. Your light will shine so much brighter right now than it ever has. The darker the world gets, the brighter we ought to shine, folks. It's no time to back up or let up or give up, throw in the towel, run backwards, lighten up, but it's time to go forward. Full force, go forward. And I know some of you thinking this morning, Lord, I am wore slab out. I can't do no more. I'm wore out. We need you. The world needs you. They need to see what living for God really is. I brought a little prop this morning. Brother Chad liked to throw them away for garbage earlier, which they do look like garbage in this bag. But actually, I'm going to preach on snake handling this morning. I'm going to dump these snakes out here on the floor. I'm just kidding about that. Your eyes got a little big right there on the front row. So I'm not going to talk about snake handling this morning, but I am going to talk about some boots. That's a good-looking set of boots right there. If you ever want some good boots, buy some Tecovas. These are all handmade, and they're very nice. Very nice set of boots, and nice guy got me those. That was me. That would be me. I'm going to talk to you about not giving up today and not backing up, not quitting, not going backwards. Let me talk to you. Let me tell you a story. This comes right out of the Bible. Just kind of get us started today. But let me tell you about a little boy that was born into slavery. He was born when the children of Israel were in Egypt bondage. This was slavery times. This was hard slavery, hard work. And he was the son of Jephthah, I think is the way you say that. And not much is known about Jephthah, except that he was from the tribe of the Kenizzites. You don't know much about the Kenizzites, do you? I don't either. There's not a whole lot about them. But I did go back and look at some family tree stuff, and this little boy was actually one of the grandsons of Esau. Now, you know Esau and Jacob. The Bible said, Esau have I hated, Jacob I loved, Esau have I hated. He was from the hated bunch. He was on the wrong side of the tracks when he was born. Then he was born into Egyptian slavery. This little boy he already had a whole lot to overcome. This is what I found out. God don't really care about your family tree. He don't really care. He can save you from anything. He's not really worried about your background or how many in your family wasn't in church or hadn't ever been in church. It don't really matter to him. He'll save you either way. God don't care about your pedigree. But this little boy was born as a distant kin of Esau into slavery. And you know what his parents named him? Dog. Y'all didn't even know that was in the Old Testament. Actually, his name was Caleb. But Caleb means dog. That's exactly the word that they used for dog back in the Old Testament. You know, dog was the lowest form of life to the Jews. When Jesus was given when the little woman came to Jesus and was asking for bread, and he said, it's not meat or it's not suitable for me to give bread to the dogs. Calling her dog. That's what they called the Gentiles. They were the dogs. And she said, I'll just take the crumbs. And Brother Levi preached from that. You know, David, when he went to fight Goliath, Goliath said, what do you think I am out here, a dog? Coming out to find me with this sling? So dog was the lowest form it was the lowest form of life. And Caleb was born, and they called him dog. This didn't deter him. He was one of the spies that went over to spy out the land for Moses. When he came back, he was one of the spies that said, we're well able to go over there and take the land. He went and fought battle after battle, and then came to Joshua toward the end and said, I feel just good as I ever did. Now give me my mountain. I was promised to, because I fought for it. I fought to get here. This was Caleb. All chips were down, but this was Caleb. And he was the little boy that just held on. And the Bible said that he wholly followed the Lord. There was something different inside Caleb, some spirit that was different. Now this morning, this is what I want to talk to you about. Die with your boots on. Die with your boots on. That's what I want to talk to you. Anybody ever heard that expression? Die with your boots on. I bet Brother Hately's heard that. Cowboys, that's exactly right. That's what this phrase comes from. And it actually means die while you're still fighting. Still in the fight. It means a person that never quits fighting. It stems actually from a 19th century, and it alludes to the soldiers who died in active duty, and then it was brought up in the old cowboy days as reference to deaths of a cowboy or gunfighters of the Old West, and when they were in a battle or gunfight, sometimes on the right side of the law and sometimes not on the right side of the law, but when they died, if they still had their boots on, they died with the boots on. They were still fighting to the last breath. That's what I want to talk to you about. This indicates people that even when the odds were against them, the chips hadn't fallen in their favor, they never quit fighting. Even though it didn't look like a win, they fought to their death. They never quit fighting. They died with their boots on, still in the battle. Now listen to me, folks. Some of us, as I told you, are probably closer to the end than some of us, maybe some of our others are. But it's no time to lay down our weapons. If you'll read in Paul in Ephesians, what Ephesians says, he says, put on. Put on. Put on. Gear up. It's time. If you think the devil is going to roll over and play dead like a possum, you have got another thought coming. Let me tell you, he is after every one of your kids. He is after every one of your grandkids. And he'll wrap it up in a package to look one way, and it might look just totally different. When you unwrap it, you know what it's going to be. And he'll bring that thing to you over and over and over and over. And if he can put something over on you, he's going to do it. If he can get your kids, he's going. It's unbelievable what our generation coming up behind us think about Christian folks and Christian values now. It will blow your mind. If you don't think it's time for us to put on our boots and gear up for battle, well, you've just had your head in the sand too long. It's important. It's important. If we want our kids to be saved, our grandkids to be saved, to keep our boots on. There's a lot of people that's dependent on us. And if they see us turning aside and lightening up on things that we fought for years and years, and they see us lightening up on it, you know, that discourages them. That don't encourage them. What encourages them is when they say you pull your bootstraps up. Even though we're 60 and 70 and 80 and whatever the rest of you are in here in this room, when they see you get up and put on your suit for battle, and people that pray like Sister Wilbanks, Sister Doris, Brother Hately, those people that have just stayed in the fight, and you know, when they see you still coming and still going to the prayer room and still praying and holding on, that encourages them. You know what that does? That says they did it, I can still do it. It's more important than ever, folks, that we fight this battle. Ephesians 6 and 10, Paul says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Standing and girding your loins, starting with girding your loins of truth, putting on your helmet of salvation, your breastplate of righteousness, shield of faith, feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. When those around us see us fighting, it encourages them to keep fighting. Let's die with our boots on, folks. Let's stay in the battle. You know, when I pass from this walk of life and do what I've finished my course here, as Paul said, do whatever I'm going to do, I don't know what people will say about me. I mean, they may look at the storybook of my life and say, this guy fell down more times than he stayed up. I don't know what they'll say. This guy was a pretty good guy, but he made a mistake here and then he got back up. And They may say all that kind of, they may just say he done really good in this life. I don't know what people say about. I do know one thing that'll never be said about me. I quit. That's one thing I know will never be said about me, that I quit. When we were getting ready to open our company, this last company up, I had several people tell me, "You're getting on the age now to where you should start looking at retirement instead of opening up more companies." I said, "Look, I don't know," and I called my partner one day. We had been in Jackson, we'd had a long talk, and we'd had some big hurdles to overcome, a lot of big decisions to make that involved a lot of families, and it was a big decision. And we had made the call on those things, and when I started back home, I called him. I said, "Look, I know this was a hard decision for us to make and a big call for us to make, but I can guarantee you one thing. I don't know how much it's going to take for our company to be profitable, but I do know how much I'm going to give. That's everything I got. I'm not a quitter. I don't quit. Just because it don't work one time, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going backwards and I'm not stepping back." Ecclesiastes says, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. I returned and saw under the sun that the race was not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor of men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to us all." It's not how we start, folks, it's how we finish. There was a king getting ready to go to battle in the Old Testament, and Ahab was the king of Israel at this time. And he sent Ahab a letter, and he said, "Prepare your gold, your silver, your wives, your kids. I'll be over there at a certain time, and you have them there to present to me. I'm taking them." Normally that would have made a person mad. If somebody said they was coming into my house to take what I got, plus my kids and my wife, I just asked them, "What kind of army you planning on bringing? Because this ain't going to be a cakewalk. You better be packing your lunch if you're going to walk in my house and get what I've got, especially to my family." That didn't even seem to bother Ahab. Ahab finally said, "Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and do that, but there's only certain things you're going to be able to take. I'll give you this, I'll give you that." And he said, "No, we're coming to get it all." And Ahab said, "Don't let the man that puts on the harness brag. Let the man that's able to take it off brag." We need to be in this thing till the end, folks. Playing it for keeps. There's a man that went to the doctor one time to get checked out. And he got his checkup. Finally, the man called back the next day, and he said, asked the doctor, said, "Well, how am I doing?" He said, "Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news for you." And the man said, "Well, give me the good news." He said, "The good news is you've got 24 hours to live." He said, "Oh, my Lord, that was the good news." He said, "What's the bad news?" He said, "I forgot to call you yesterday." So we don't know when our last few days are going to be here, folks. It could be over pretty quick, but I'm not quitting, are you? And let me read you this. In 2018 in London, archaeologists were excavating a site and uncovered the skeletal remains of a medieval man, literally described as 500-year-old skeleton. And they said he literally died with his boots on. It's extremely rare to find any boots from the late 15th century, let alone a skeleton still wearing them, because boots will decay and rot away. Bones might still be there, but the boots are going to be gone. Just so happened that he still had his boots on. How he died, no one knows. The body was face down. Archaeologists said it appeared that he was in battle and fought till the last breath left him, and then died with his boots on. Now that's the way I want to be, folks. Up till the last breath is gone, I'm going to keep fighting this fight of faith. If you'll notice something about boots, I think Brother Levi got some Tacovas just in the last few weeks or so. These are nice boots, aren't they, brother? His nice wife bought him this. And by the way, this is Pastor Wife Appreciation Month. So if you see Sister Summer today, tell her how much you appreciate her. If you'll notice, there's something about these boots that make them unique. It's these tall heel right here on the back of these boots. And those were made for the cowboys when they put their foot in the stirrup, that this right here would catch on the stirrup, that the boot wouldn't go all the way through. Wouldn't slide all the way through the stirrup, which that makes sense. Then you see the tall shaft on them that they got. This was to hold the boot in place, and this kept your leg from chapping against the saddle all the time when you're riding out on the range or riding a lot. The boots, most boots, you can just slip them on. You put your foot down in them, grab the sides, and pull them, and they'll slip right on your foot. That was made for a reason also. Slide on and slide off. If a cowboy fell out of the saddle and his foot hung in the stirrup, he'd be drugged to death. But his boot was made to where it would slip back off rather easily, and he could still live through that. High tops on these boots. You see this, the tall tops on them. That was to keep the sand and the mud and the water out. And that was very efficient in the cowboy days. Let me tell you about in the Bible days. We see the Roman soldiers, and they wore a half boot. It's called I'm going to have to look at this. Caliga, I think is the way you might say that. Caliga. I'm not sure about the pronunciation on this. It might be some focus somewhere besides the A, but I think it's Caliga. I think it's what they're called. So what made these superior to sandals that the enemy wore? Especially the foot soldiers. If you'll remember in battle in the Bible days, a lot of hand-to-hand combat. Most of it was hand-to-hand combat. And these shoes were made different for the Roman soldiers. Unique was the soles in them, but they had spikes that had been driven down through them, similar to cleats in our day, like when somebody played football. And this would give them a better grip on the ground. Combat was done hand-to-hand. It was bloody and gory, and the longer the battle raged, the more blood was spilled, and the more blood on the ground made it slippery. So if you slipped and lost your step in battle, the enemy overcame you rather easily. So sure-footed soldiers, no matter the conditions, could plant their boot or their shoe in the ground and win the fight. Now we're living in a day where seemingly there is no right or wrong. There is no black or white according to the world. It's just whatever suits them. But we need to be more stable in God than we have ever been. You know how we can be more stable in God? Keep our boots on. Keep our boots on. Stand. Paul said, when you've done all to stand, stand. Dig in. Be unmovable. Let me read you some verses in Colossians 2 and 6. It says, as ye have therefore received Christ Jesus the Lord, so walk ye in him. Rooted. That's your feet planted in the ground, firmly planted, thoroughly grounded, rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Verse 8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy or vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. I love this verse. And ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. There's no backing up. There's no backing down. A purpose-driven life. We need to stay ready for battle. You've never seen a cowboy go out to a gunfight barefooted, have you? They don't go out barefooted to a gunfight. You've never seen a football player get on the football field and take his shoes off when he went on the football. No, he laced them up. He laced up his cleats because this was going to give him better footing. The fireman sleeps with boots right beside his bed. Just in case he gets a call, he's going to put them boots on and help him get through. Why is the armed forces called that boot camp? boot camp. That's where you're getting your stability. Let me tell you, folks, the Bible compares Satan to a serpent. Satan, the old serpent. I think it said that several times in the Bible. And then it tells us that we can tread on serpents and that we should be able to bruise the serpent's head. You know, you're not going to be able to do that barefooted. If I had thrown a snake out here this morning, which I didn't intend to, and asked y'all to take your shoe off and come up here and step on his head, and he was a big 3 or 4 foot copperhead, I don't believe I would get any volunteers. But do you know the devil is more susceptible than the serpent? And he is going about as a roaring lion. I mean, this is a bad dude. And do you know we try to fight him barefooted a lot of the times when we should have our boots on? We should be prepared for the devil. You're not going to be able to bruise his head with your bare foot. You're not going to be able to do it. Let's die with our boots on. I found this quote, and it says, to each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted into their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared and unqualified, for that could have been their finest hour. That's a pretty good quote. To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing that is unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for what could have been their finest hour. I want to stay ready, don't you folks? I want to stay ready. Let me tell you, my time's got away from me bad this morning. Spent too much time piddling, I guess. Let me tell you this one little story here. Born in Ohio, December the 5th, 1839. He was part of a big family. He was raised in a humble beginning. He was expelled from school several times, and he was described as lazy, and he racked up 726 demerits in 4 years of school. This was a rowdy dude. Despite his less than desired, even stained record, the Army was desperate for soldiers, and they accepted him in the Army. Might have been a mistake. He fought in his first battle in 1861 and gained the attention as someone that would not quit fighting. He was brave. He was brassy. He even enjoyed a good ruckus every once in a while. At 23 years old, he was promoted to brigadier general, and soon after began sporting his flamboyant uniform. He fought in the Battle of Gettysburg. He was known as a general that did not care to fight, even did not care to fight at any time, even with his superior ranking. He married Elizabeth Bacon in 1862, but he was called back into battle in 1864. While he was there, he was promoted to general. He met General Lee. He was there at General Lee's surrender. Was promoted then to lieutenant colonel. 1866, a group of Sioux and Cheyenne Indians massacred a group of soldiers. President Ulysses Grant commissioned him and said, "Would you lead the cavalry against the Indians?" At 36 years old, he and 210 soldiers headed northward to discover the Indian camp. When the Indian camp was discovered, he was severely undermanned. What should he have done? Retreated or went forward like the President Grant had asked him to? He moved forward. He never considered retreating. You will know him as George Armstrong Custer, in Custer's last stand at the Bighorn. Severely outnumbered. Didn't look like there's no way to win, and sure enough, they wasn't. but he never quit fighting. He never took his boots off. He fought to the bitter end. I heard this story one time about an army that was in battle, and the battle had done really got hot, and they were hand-to-hand combat, and it looked like that the enemy was just fixing to overtake them. And the army general started hollering, "Retreat, retreat, retreat, retreat." But the battle was going in such an array that nobody could hear him hollering. So he went to the little bugle boy, and he told the little bugle boy, he said, "Quit playing the charge, play the retreat, play the retreat." To which the little boy looked at the general and said, "Sir, I never learned retreat. I never learned retreat." We're in a battle, folks. I mean, we're up to our heels, and this is a mess we're in right now. Do not play the retreat. Play the charge. It's full speed ahead. If we ever needed Christian folks to take up their arms in battle, it's today's date that we're living in. Die with your boots on. Listen, folks, I don't care if I'm putting the last 50 cents in the Coke machine I've got when I pass on, right after I've fought a battle with the devil. If you think he's going to quit fighting you just because you've turned, how old are you, Brother Rogers? He'll be 60 this year, same age as me. If we think the devil's going to quit fighting us because we've been doing this for quite a while, and now we're in our older age and we don't have the strength to fight like we used to, you think the devil's going to quit? He's going to pour it on. He's going to see how much he can test us with, folks, in these last days. And we're nearing the end. Even if the Lord don't come pretty quick, most of us are nearing the end of our journey. And it's not going to be long. It's not how you started. It's going to be how you finish. There is no second place. In this race, you either win or lose. There's not a second place. There's not a consolation prize. You either win the prize or you lose. There's no second. Therefore, there should not be a plan B, because it takes away your focus from plan A. There should not be a plan B. It's wide open, straight ahead, boots on, armor on, full strength charge ahead. About the old song says, "When the battle's over, we shall wear a crown." But it ain't over. The battle is not over, folks. It's raging more than it's ever had. If you would get out from under Corinth, Mississippi, and get out into the world a little bit, you'll see what kind of mess we're in. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and she ain't even humming right now. It's time to go forward, folks. It's time to take up arms and go forward. Well, I'm glad you made it to Sunday school today. Let's give the Lord a big hand today. I'm thankful for his word, aren't you? It's a lamp to our feet, light to our path. We've got the word, and we've got the Holy Ghost. There's no way we can miss it. That ain't made a lot of people get a lot of amens out of that. But if you can't follow the guidelines, if you can't follow the plan of salvation, then follow the word of God and be 100% assured that you're going to make it to heaven, let's throw the books out and save the light bill and go to the house. That's exactly the way I feel about it. I like something that works. I like